Welcome to Q&A for the day. My name is Josh Akonye, physical therapist, certified strength and conditioning specialist, and former athlete. And I'm here to answer your questions about rehab, fitness, or just life in general. And this is not medical advice, all right? This is just my personal opinion. So, for today's Q&A for the day, it's going to be a little bit different, okay? Because I've been getting a couple of questions kind of surrounding the same topic. People want to know about my transition from football. Oh, why was it so hard? Did I kind of go into a depression? And I just want to kind of address some of these topics and all at once, and kind of see if I can get to the bottom of it, and just kind of give some people some clarity on kind of my personal experience and kind of what I went through and just reasons behind it. So when it comes to if I was depressed, I would have to say clinically, no. I wouldn't say I was depressed. Fortunately for me, I did have other passions. I did have other things to kind of pour into, and I had other goals. And I think for me, that's kind of what helped. A lot of people tend to, make football their everything, and football needs to play. Well, I don't say needs, but sometimes it is pivotal for, or it's important to make football your number one priority, especially if you're trying to take it as far as you can go. The thing about that is you tend to not be able to make room for other things, and especially at the college level, it's very difficult to make room for other things. You're busy all year. Summers are taken. The off season is busy, and you're extremely busy in the off season. So trying to get a summer job or any internships is nearly impossible, just with the time commitment that you have to give to football itself. So that in itself makes it a lot tougher to kind of prepare for life after football. A lot of people aren't able to develop some of the skills or some of the experience that they need to make that transition a lot smoother. And it's unfortunate. That's the way it is. When you go to college, you're on, well, if you're at a D1 college, you're on full scholarship most time. Well, if you're a scholarship player, you're on full scholarship. But even for like walk-ons and stuff, there's still, I know walk-ons who they do a lot, because you're not getting paid, but you're still doing everything that's required of a scholarship athlete. So just being on the team in general is a huge time commitment, and not being able to, explore things outside of it as much as you would like does kind of hinder your ability to make a smooth transition after your playing days are over. So I would say for me personally, I always kind of knew I wanted to get into physical therapy, so I made sure I took the classes that I need to. And actually, a funny thing about taking the classes that I need to, so I went into college thinking that, like, if you take a health and exercise major, all you have to do is just apply to PT school after and you're good. Little did I know, or little did I not know, that PT school has prereqs. And unfortunately, I did not find out about these prereqs until the summer before my senior year. So yeah, just imagine when you find out that there are like 4 different science classes that you have not even taken, that you very well easily could have taken if only you knew about what was required to go into PT school. And it wasn't as if that I didn't voice I wanted to go to PT school. I was told, hey, if you're interested in PT, you may want to, major in health and exercise science. That's what I was told. But I was not told about the, application process of getting into PT school, and how, different schools have different prerequisites. And yeah, unfortunately for me and a couple of my teammates, actually, we had to make a decision. That summer before our senior year, we had to choose whether we wanted to double up on science classes during the season and in the off season, just to get these credits out the way, or change course and just kind of take the major, but try something different. And yeah, majority of us just changed course. I remember I was close, but I talked to my older brother, who is a, let me get this right. It's oh, he always corrects me. It's pretty long. He is a emergency pediatric physician. Um, at the time, he was just in med residency. Yeah, he was in residency at the time, and I remember calling him and just being like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna have to take chemistry and physics in season, like with labs and all." And he's like, "Bro, if PT is what you want to do, then shoot, you ain't got no choice, bro. So like, you better get ready to take those classes." And I did. Um, and yeah, no, it was definitely a tough time. It was definitely a tough time. I'm not gonna lie, but I would like to consider myself a good student. So it was just a little more stressful, not as lenient or as easy that I wanted my senior year to be. My senior year was the year I had the most. I took the most credits in both semesters, and yeah, I didn't really go out the easy route on during that year, but it was definitely worth it. I'm glad I did. In the time, I definitely was not happy about it, but at the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do. So yeah, back to preparing myself. Yeah, I always try to prepare myself for PT school and kind of have that in the back of my mind. Um, I did have certain times for an internship only because a internship course was given, so that kind of freed up some time. Instead of class time, you can go and like participate in a what they called it an externship, and you can do that for class credit. So that kind of helped me out. But for the majority of people, and there isn't much time to get that experience in whatever field you're trying to really get into. To build those connections and network as much as you would like to, and you kind of relying on just networking with the students that you come into contact with, but like trying to really dive deep into your field is very hard at the college level if you're a collegiate athlete. So that makes the transition very difficult because it's harder to get into something else with the lack of experience, and that's something that a lot of people do struggle with. A lot of people struggle with what I had. Like I said, I had a passion outside of football, and a lot of people may struggle with even giving themselves time to find a passion. You really have to find something outside of football. It's not that football can't be your most important passion, because at the end of the day, it opens a lot of doors, and it opened a lot of doors for me. It gave me an experience that some people would dream about, and I can't. I'll always be grateful to what the sport kind of offered for me and the opportunities it gave me. But I have seen the way that it can set some people up for failure, and now I believe that it is getting better in terms of the effort that is put into the athletes and their education, and especially when it comes to like financial literacy, and just really trying to facilitate some more opportunities to really allow these athletes to build themselves, whether it's building their brand or just kind of get into more business type settings, really, and kind of help them prepare for the future, which is better. It's better, but there's still some room for improvement. And when you ask someone who has made one sport their identity to kind of flip the switch into something else, it is very tough ask, because we grow up and we are known as the football player, or the basketball player, or the soccer player, and that is part of who you are. You build these support systems on your team, that from people who resonate with how you prepare, how you live, and the way you are. And there's only a select few people who can really relate to the experiences of you know playing at a high level and putting in extra work than the average person would do. And when you kind of separate from that, you kind of enter into a different environment around other people who may not understand the life that you've been through, but also other people who have a lot of experiences in finding their passions or really honing their skills and crafts and other things outside of you know just that kind of go into their passions. So it's kind of tough because you're not really prepared for that life after football. You don't really like to think about the life after football because at the end of the day, you really want to take it to the highest level for most people. You want to see how far you can take it, and you may feel like if you start thinking about after, it's gonna distract the current and the present, and you really want to make sure you get everything that you can out of it. But unfortunately, football isn't forever, no matter how good you are. Now, if you're lucky enough to, have a stellar career and, go to the league and, be there for like 12, 15 years, then hey, so be it. You can probably retire off that money and, invest it and, do anything you want with that. But unfortunately, the majority of people may not have a 10 or 15-year career in the NFL. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's definitely nothing wrong with that as much as you would like to. Success can be seen in countless different ways. And, we have to be able to recognize that there's life after football. And that doesn't mean that, you are setting up for failure, because some people think like, oh, if I don't last for so long, I failed. If I don't get to this point, I failed. And it's not great to think that way, because even though that I did not have a long career in the NFL, very short career in the NFL, I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, at the end of the day, like, I don't feel like a failure. Now I don't. I tell you, in the beginning, I definitely feel like a failure, and I'll dive into that soon. But now, I mean, looking back on it, man, like the experiences that I've had, I can't like just honestly being able to say that I played on national TV on a weekly basis. Being able to be around some of the most prestigious and athletic and just crazy talented people in the world. Playing alongside future Hall of Famers. I can't say that that's me being a failure, but hindsight is 2020. I do remember once I got released for the last time, I was afraid to leave the house. I didn't want anyone to see me. I kind of went 0 dark 30, I remember I had to go to the gym. I wanted to stay in shape. I wanted to just stay ready just in case, I got another call. And I remember calling my boy Russ, and I was like, man, like, we need to go to the gym, but like, I'm not really trying to go to that gym because I don't want people to see me. I don't want people to know that I'm home. I don't want people to like know that I didn't, last or something, and then like my career is possibly over. And like, I remember my boy Russ was like, Josh, bro, you doing more than half of these people are or will ever do in their life. Like, boy, he's like, boy, you don't get your ass up and come to the gym and get this work. So yeah, I mean, it definitely took some time. Yeah, I wanted to do PT. I wanted to get into PT school, but at that point in time, it was just a plan. It wasn't really set in motion as much. It was a idea. It was a hope. It was something that I hoped will come into fruition, but there was no certainty behind it. So there were days where I definitely sat around contemplating, you know, what should I do next? How should I go about doing something next? Um, is it time to just like hang it up? Should I try different leagues, different avenues, and stuff like that? And um, for me personally, it came to just I really wanted to have more control over my personal success, and you know, my status with the league would have meant, bouncing around because, I was an undrafted free agent. So, you know, the odds of me sticking on a team for a long time were pretty low. But, you know, it would just meant that my success was kind of really placed in the hands of other people. And, I wanted a little more control. And, with the league, it's a lot of uncertainty. You never know how long you're going to be somewhere. It's literally day to day, and um, going from that environment, um, you learn how to handle pressure, you learn how to handle stress, you learn how to handle anxiety. But even though you learn how to handle it, is because you have a way to channel it. When you do leave the sport, you lose your way of channeling your creativity, or just your frustrations, or just a medium to really channel things through. And that is usually the issue that makes the transition so hard. One big thing that is that your whole support system changes. Imagine you are, you go to college, you're around teammates who are recruited from all over the nation. So when you go home, these teammates that you have, made these close relationships with, or relations, and these teammates who are like very pivotal in your life, are spread all across the nation, and you have a sense of feeling alone, because it's like you don't have that ability to just see these people every day anymore. You may be in Texas and your teammate is in Cali, or Washington, or New York, and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, you can kind of schedule some trips and stuff like that, but coming out of college, it's very inconvenient, to be scheduling trips like that. I mean, you don't got money. I mean, now you probably got money with the NILs and stuff like that. So that's a whole nother story. I mean, shoot, I definitely missed out on some NIL money there, but yeah, no, like, your support system changes. In college, you have a lot of people. You have a full team, not only teammates, but advisors and faculty members and staff. That are, their job is to support you and make sure everything that you need to do gets done. And once the sport is over, you lose all that. And no one's checking on you. No one's telling you to do anything. No one's making sure you got something done. You're just on your own. And that quick switch for some people is very tough to handle. You're blindsided with a whole new set of responsibilities and accountability. So it is a tough transition, and those are some factors that make it harder, with just not having too much experience outside of the sport, not having too much time to develop your passions outside of the sport, losing your original support system that you had in the sport. And yeah, like, it is tough because your identity changes, your identity shifts. I felt so embarrassed. I felt like a failure for the longest time. I ignored everything that I had accomplished and focused so hard on what I didn't. And that's kind of where I went wrong. Because what I didn't accomplish, isn't wasn't and still isn't as important as um, everything that I did, because everything that I did and everything that I went through definitely played a pivotal role in where I am today and where I will continue to be or will be in the future. Um, I guess the important thing is being able to draw from your experiences and draw from the things that you learned in the sport and transfer them into something else. That discipline, that work ethic, um, all that is important, and all that can really make your next career your best career. And a lot of players have to realize that just because football is done doesn't mean that your ability to be successful is. You can, man, I know so many ex-football players. I mean, you can look at, there are Fortune 500 CEOs and bosses and owners of companies and everything like that are former athletes, and it's for a reason. It's not just by accident or a coincidence. Um, but the thing is making sure these athletes are prepared for that transition and really see what is possible. Um, and not being afraid to really you know look into what else do they want outside of the sport. Um, you have to realize that, like, football isn't forever, and that's not a bad thing. It's a scary thing to think about, but it's not a bad thing. You can get hurt. Your career can be over. You can just get cut and not be given a chance, or you can just, I know people who were great players and they just so happen to not be given a chance, like just no chance, like no one, for no reason, nothing. It's not like they had um bad things about them that you know put them in a negative light or anything like that. It was just by chance they were just not given a chance, and it's unfortunate. Nothing's guaranteed, nothing's promised, and you have to be ready for any and all of those situations. So yeah, like, was I depressed? Nah, I wasn't depressed. I was definitely down. I was in a slump. I was in a hell of a slump, like hell of a hell of a slump. But depression. No, I like I didn't have. I mean, I've been through, like, I've seen like some of the tests and the questions and stuff like that, and I still found joy in things. Sleep. I mean, sleep wasn't always too good for me because being an athlete, or a student athlete, I was staying up late to study or get work done, waking up early for early morning workouts. So that kind of sleep schedule has kind of always stuck with me. So um, there were times where you know I'd have a day. I mean, you have one of those days you're just like, man, like, yeah, it's a dull day. It's a dull day, definitely. But um, having like a long period of just no joy and stuff like that, nah, because I mean, I still had good people around me, and I'm fortunate to have had that. But I was, I want to say strong minded, but I was still very determined in making sure that I still kept my goals and my plans alive in some way, shape, or form. Even though, I was still trying to figure out my football life, I was still, making little moves here and there to keep my PT life, to keep it open and keep it an option. So, um, yeah, like, it's a tough transition, but yeah, you have to really prepare yourself, and the athletes really need to be told and really need to be prepped, because at the end of the day, unfortunately, the school is going to worry about the business, and you know the athletes there to play. And for me personally, it was even hard for me to take science classes in the major that I wanted, because they were known to be difficult classes, and I had to fight to take some of these classes. I had to fight to be allowed to, not major in something easy. I mean, I'm not saying communications is not easy. I don't want to say like communication, because there are definitely some communication majors that, you know, run with it and do great things. Okay, and but some schools kind of use that as a landing spot to kind of facilitate just a easier learning experience. There are definitely rigorous communication classes, but I believe there are choices for less, rigorous classes. So, they try to put athletes through that route, because really at the end of the day, school's going to try to get them to do whatever they can to pass, and make sure that passing or their grades aren't an issue. And you're going to try to do that by putting them in easier classes. And you know as easier that it may make life during college, it does make it harder after college, which is the unfortunate part. And um, yeah, no, I've definitely seen a lot of cases where people leave college and it's like, oh snap, what did I do? What did I even prepare myself for? I tried to put my resume together. There's nothing on it. There's, what can I even do with the experience that I do have, the major that I do have? And, you start thinking about those, the answer to those questions a little bit too late. So, you know, fortunately, I was able to, set myself up a little bit better, but that's only because I just I don't know. It was just me. I just knew what I wanted to do, and my plan was always play football, then become PT. Being a physical therapist was never like my backup plan. I never thought of it as that. I never thought of it as, oh, like in case I don't play football, I'm gonna be a physical therapist, because that way of thinking made it seem like I'm preparing for failure. But it was never a plan B situation. I always tell people this, like, it was always a plan A. Like, all I had was plan A. Plan A was football, then physical therapy. That's it. Like, there was no football, and if it doesn't work out, then I go into my plan B, didn't have a plan B. So, for me, it always felt like, even though I did feel like a failure in the beginning, I never felt like I was, you know, going into my plan B. It was just like, okay, well, I mean, you're still on your plan, you're still on course. Continue on the course that you made, and that's exactly what I did. And that's exactly what I will continue to do. And but I just hope that moving forward, athletes aren't afraid to share that, and share that struggle, because I didn't tell anyone in the beginning, because while I was trying to figure my life out, I didn't want anyone else to know that I was that I was trying to figure my life out. It was one of the things, like, you just try to put your head down and hope you figure it out, and you just try to avoid people, and because you don't want to get those questions, you don't want to get those questions of, hey, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do next? What's next for you? When are you gonna get on a team? Or the classic, like I said in the back in the first video, like, this team needs you, like, call your agent. Like, you're not really even trying to hear that right now. So you just are trying to really figure your life out, but you really want to surround yourself around people who either understand your situation or know that they don't need to continue asking you about your situation, because you don't know about your situation. You're trying to figure it out, and trying to answer questions like that about an entire identity shift while you're trying to figure out is not a situation you want to really be in. So just not being scared to voice that, because I feel like if I had been more vocal about it, it wouldn't have been as bad. But trying to hold all that in, you tend to feel very secluded, very alone. I remember thinking that, like, everyone, like, as much as I may have thought I was failure a little bit, but I wasn't like so like into like, I didn't really think like, oh bro, like you failed, like you suck. Like it wasn't like that bad. But I always feared that other people would think that I think I'm a failure, if that makes sense. I always like be afraid of like people either like feeling sorry for me, or feeling like nervous, or like bad around me, just thinking that like I was like just super sad and that I felt like I failed at life. And it was like, that wasn't the case. um I knew I was trying to figure out life, and I knew what I had to do, but I didn't, feel like I failed at life, and I didn't want other people to feel that. So I was trying so hard to do something and make and find a way to show people that, hey, I'm good, like I'm good, I'm doing something. So that was that limbo period between applying to PT school and trying to get into PT school, because once I got into PT school, I was finally able to say, hey y'all, like I'm doing something, like not, you don't gotta worry about me anymore, like I'm not, what I'm saying, I'm not just trying to figure things out, I'm not in limbo anymore, like I got something. So took a lot of the pressure off. And yeah, but um I mean, yeah, even after PT school started, it was still kind of tough to kind of really believe, hey, like it's over, it's done. But yeah, when them knees and them feet and the Achilles and all that start hurting after just one day on the field, you're like, yeah, it's probably, I'm actually probably done. Like my body is like, it ain't recovering like it used to, and it's okay. That's that's fine. You're gonna have to taper down some of your activity and everything like that, and do what you can handle. But yeah, when it's time to transition, you hope to have the support you need. You hope to have the experience that you need, and you hope to have made the connections that you need to make that transition smoother. And I fortunately had some of it, some of that I just kind of had to figure out, but more than most don't, and that's the unfortunate part. But yeah, I mean, for those who may be going through a similar situation, just know that you're definitely not alone. You're definitely one of many. Just trying to figure out your life and trying to figure out what's next, trying to figure out a new identity, or how you can draw from your past identity into a new one. And talk about it. Like, don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to vocalize it, because you never know how similar you may, or how much things you may have in common with someone that's very close to you. So don't feel embarrassed, because the worst thing you can do is let that embarrassment really eat you up and make you feel just alone and secluded, and force you to have to deal with everything on your own. And you shouldn't have to. Just realize that, like, there's so many people going through the same exact situation, whether it's leaving their sport or changing career or something like that, like just having to change something that they grew up doing, whether it's cheerleading, dancing, playing volleyball, playing basketball, and just having to switch into, people like to say, just like a regular person. It seems like a downgrade, but it's not. I mean, there's regular people who are far more successful than people playing professional sports. It's about kind of what you do with that life after, and still creating goals, still creating big goals. My big thing is, if my goal doesn't scare me, doesn't make me hesitate of actually, saying it's a goal, then it's not big enough. And you want to create or have goals that kind of make you kind of flinch just a little bit, because that feeling of when you achieve that goal, it's gonna be, man, it's gonna be so gratifying, and that's the high, as we athletes kind of look for. So yeah, shoot, guess I answered that question, in many different ways. And there's so many different avenues I can kind of go into this, but that's just kind of one way I kind of wanted to really address some of that today. And hopefully someone kind of found some solace in that and some value in that, and help them. If any of you guys are dealing with a similar situation and need someone to talk to, hey, hit me up. I had no problem talking to you. Yeah, just sliding them DMs the right way, and definitely I'll help. I'm willing to be here and help in any way that I can, because I wish that I kind of had that help when it was time for my transition. And yeah, there's a plane flying outside my window, so I'm not sure if it's gonna pick that up, but hopefully it's still, the audio is still smooth. But yeah, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And hit me up with some more questions, in my DMs, in my comment section, and wherever. And who knows, it may end up on the next video. All right. So that's it for this episode, and stay tuned for the next one, and I will see you next time.